So it is important in times like these to have a distraction. And that's why I want to personally extend my gratitude to Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively.
Chelsea Handler roasted Blake Lively on live TV while hosting the 2025 Critics' Choice Awards, and the internet has been in chaos ever since. Handler didn't just throw jokes, she ripped into Blake's legal drama and exposed the desperate PR tactics behind it.
Chelsea Handler just roasted Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni in front of a lot of major celebrities at an award show.
Lively probably thought she had control of the narrative, but Handler flipped the script so hard, there's nowhere left for her to hide.
This is literally just happening out in Hollywood. The Critics' Choice Awards happened. Chelsea Handler is hosting it. I don't think Blake Lively is going to like it.
And let me tell you why Chelsea's roast is spreading like wildfire. Because she has never been the type to hold back. She's built her entire career on saying what everyone else is too afraid to. And this time, Blake Lively was in the line of fire.
Look, she does make fun of Justin and Blake, but the fact that she's making fun of it at all shows she doesn't believe Blake.
From late-night TV to sold-out stand-up shows, Chelsea has roasted celebrities, torn apart Hollywood hypocrisy, and made a living off calling out the nonsense that everyone else tiptoes around. So when she stepped onto the Critics' Choice stage, you knew things were about to get messy. And sure enough, her first target was none other than Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, whose off-screen drama has overshadowed their actual movie.
And I think that's incredibly telling. And to see Hollywood celebrities in this room laughing at it and agreeing with her that, like, we're over this, stop, Blake, this wasn't worth it.
The lawsuit between Blake and Justin has been playing out like a Hollywood soap opera, except with fewer plot twists and way more legal documents. Blake started it all by filing a lawsuit against Baldoni, claiming workplace harassment and a so-called smear campaign.
For the first time at the premiere, you find out that Blake Lively tells people that all of a sudden he wrote a scene in the movie. I mean, you know, shocking everybody, shocking Sony, shocking the production staff.
But instead of backing down, Baldoni swung back even harder, dragging Ryan Reynolds into the mix and accusing both Blake and Ryan of extortion and defamation. At that point, the whole situation had escalated so far that it stopped being about the movie and became one giant PR disaster. It wasn't a case anymore. It was a full-blown circus. And Chelsea Handler, she saw right through it.
So it is important in times like these to have a distraction. And that's why I want to personally extend my gratitude to Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively.
The second she brought up the lawsuit, the energy in the room shifted. Some gasped, some laughed, and some did that awkward, oh no she didn't face. But the best reaction? Orlando Bloom cracking up on camera, confirming what everyone already suspected: Hollywood isn't taking this lawsuit seriously anymore. If there was ever a moment for the industry to rally behind Blake, this was it. Instead, they laughed. And in showbiz, when you become a joke, you're done.
I find it offensive to Justin a bit because Justin got totally screwed in this situation, it seems, potentially, right? And so I don't like that about it, but she's knocking them both.
What made Chelsea's joke even more brutal was the timing. By then, the cracks in Blake's case were already showing. At first, she had the public's sympathy, but then leaked text messages flipped the narrative.
And then the hit piece had a bunch of text messages and emails between Baldoni and his PR team. Baldoni ended up being dropped from William Morris Agency, which is one of the biggest agencies in the world. Lively claimed that she missed hosting SNL because of the Baldoni smear campaign.
One of the worst revelations? The breastfeeding comment scandal, where Blake claimed Baldoni made inappropriate remarks about her ability to breastfeed on set. But the text painted a different story, one where Blake herself kept bringing it up, contradicting her entire accusation.
She said both men repeatedly entered her makeup trailer uninvited while she was undressed, including when she was breastfeeding.
Then came the intimate scene controversy, where Blake claimed she was pressured into filming something inappropriate. But when behind-the-scenes documents surfaced, they told a completely different story. Not only had Blake approved the scene in advance, but sources also claimed she was the one making script changes to enhance it. Suddenly, her accusations weren't just being questioned, they were falling apart entirely.
She's knocking them both. She's sort of saying, like, enough, you two, this is ridiculous. Why is this even a thing? And to me, that means it's a knock on Blake.
So when Chelsea Handler mocked the lawsuit in front of Hollywood's biggest names, it wasn't just comedy, it was a wake-up call. The moment the crowd laughed instead of gasping in support, Blake's credibility vanished.
And then Baldoni is now counter-suing. He sued the New York Times for $250 million. He claims that Ryan Reynolds aggressively berated him.
Chelsea didn't just make a joke, she made a statement that Hollywood was done pretending this lawsuit was anything other than a PR nightmare. And just to twist the knife a little deeper, she sarcastically thanked Blake and Justin for the entertainment.
She seems like kind of a jerk. Wow, she's like kind of a bully.
The fallout was immediate. Within hours, media outlets ran headlines about Chelsea's roast, and social media exploded with clips of her joke replaying on repeat. People weren't debating whether Blake was right or wrong anymore. They were laughing at how ridiculous the lawsuit had become. And that is the worst possible scenario for Blake and Ryan.
Whatever, it kind of passed. It was over. But like a lot of thin-skinned Hollywood types, she couldn't stand the fact that it was still lingering in any way out there. And she decided to file a complaint with the California Human Rights Division.
If they were hoping this legal battle would protect their public image, it has done the complete opposite. Because once you become a punchline in Hollywood, there's no recovering from that.
And the reason he allegedly did this is because she'd accused him during the filming of the movie of sexual harassment.
And if you're wondering what's actually going on between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, buckle up because this lawsuit is messier than you thought. What started as a simple movie production turned into a full-blown Hollywood war, complete with allegations, counter-lawsuits, and enough drama to fuel a year's worth of gossip columns.
But they did make a movie together called It Ends With Us. She claimed Baldoni had improvised unwanted kissing and discussed his life, including encounters in which he said he may not have received consent. Mr. Heath, the producer Jamie Heath, had shown her a video of his wife naked, she said, and he had watched Miss Lively in her trailer when she was topless and having body makeup removed, despite her asking him to look away.
So here's the deal. Both Blake and Baldoni weren't just starring in It Ends With Us. They had major creative control over it. Blake was producing, Baldoni was directing, and instead of making a blockbuster, they ended up making headlines for all the wrong reasons. By the end of 2020, tensions had reached their boiling point, and Blake fired the first shot.
And she decided to file a complaint with the California Human Rights Division. But that was really, I believe, and it is alleged by Justin's lawyers now, just a setup so that she could give the New York Times cover to do a huge hit piece on him and attempted rehab of her.
In December 2024, she officially filed a complaint with the California Civil Rights Department accusing Baldoni of sexual harassment and workplace retaliation. But she didn't stop there. She claimed that Baldoni and producer Jamie Heath were running a full-blown smear campaign against her to destroy her reputation.
And there are a lot of bodies for Blake Lively. So he's first filed a defamation lawsuit against the New York Times for their totally irresponsible report about this matter, in which they made a mistake, so egregious mistakes, intentional errors, you could argue.
It was a massive accusation, and the New York Times ran with it, framing Baldoni as the villain of the story. But instead of rolling over and taking the hit, Baldoni clapped back, hard. In January 2025, he filed a monstrous $250 million libel lawsuit against the New York Times, calling them out for pushing a one-sided, cherry-picked, and manipulated version of events. But that was just the beginning. A few weeks later, on January 16, 2025, Baldoni's attorney went nuclear and dropped a $400 million lawsuit against Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and their publicist, Leslie Sloan.
They did have internal PR meetings about what they might have to do because this woman, Leslie Sloan, who works for the Ryan and Blake, was dropping hit piece after hit piece on Justin, and that Blake had spent the entire prior year trying to wrest control of this movie.
The claims? Civil extortion, defamation, and invasion of privacy. Basically, Baldoni accused Blake of trying to control the film, and when things didn't go her way, she allegedly made up accusations to shift the blame. This lawsuit has already wrecked careers. Baldoni got dropped by his talent agency, WME, just days after Blake's accusations went public. Vital Voices stripped him of his Voices of Solidarity award, making it clear that he was losing industry support fast.
Away from Justin Baldoni. It was his film. He was the director. He's the producer. He's the one who found the book and got the idea for it. And she was such a brat that she wanted to control every scene, wanted to see all the dailies, wanted to do her own cut and did her own cut of the movie. All this is very unusual for just an actress in the film.
But Blake didn't walk away unscathed either. Her entire press tour was a PR disaster. People slammed her for being tone deaf, saying she talked more about her hair than the actual themes of domestic violence in the film. And let's talk about Hollywood's reaction, because this is where things get really interesting. Normally, when a major female star makes allegations like these, the industry rallies behind her. But in this case, it's been dead silent.
Even if she's the lead, and that she's now tried to turn this whole thing into a PR victory for her to get past what appears to be the fact that she is an egotistical bully.
Some celebs have shown support, but most big names have stayed out of it. And then there's Chelsea Handler, who went ahead and said what everyone else was too scared to. During the 2025 Critics' Choice Awards, Chelsea didn't just make a passing joke. She flat out mocked the entire situation. Her words? "I want to personally extend my gratitude to Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. Thank you for the distraction during these difficult times."
So it is important in times like these to have a distraction. And that's why I want to personally extend my gratitude to Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively.
No sympathy, no outrage, just pure sarcasm. And the way the audience laughed instead of gasped, that's Hollywood's way of saying they're over it. Now people are trying to figure out why Blake hasn't gotten the overwhelming support she probably expected. Some say it's because the case is too complicated and no one wants to pick a side. Others think Hollywood is just tired of these public lawsuits that turn into media circuses and end up ruining everyone's reputation. Either way, this isn't looking good for Blake.
Why is this even a thing? And to me, that means it's a knock on Blake. I want you to watch this joke. Let's see how you guys take it.
I am your DEI host, Chelsea Handler.
And it's far from over. The trial is set for March 9th, 2026 in New York, and whatever happens next is going to define both their careers. At this point, Blake and Baldoni aren't just fighting in court, they're fighting for their Hollywood survival. And do you know why this whole Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni mess is giving people serious deja vu?
She has made herself into the new Amber Heard, and he is the new Johnny Depp. That's what's caught people's attention. She had a round of negative publicity when this movie she did, It Ends With Us, about domestic violence.
Because it's practically Hollywood's next Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial. Same chaos, different cast. Just like Depp and Heard's high-profile defamation case, this one has all the ingredients of a tabloid goldmine. Big stars, shocking accusations, messy counter-lawsuits, and a courtroom drama unfolding in front of the whole world.
It's just the picture they're painting of him is so gross. It's another Amber Johnny situation, in my opinion.
If you need a refresher, the Depp Heard saga started with Amber Heard's 2018 op-ed in the Washington Post, where she heavily implied Depp was an abuser. Depp sued for defamation. Heard countersued for $100 million. What followed was months of live-streamed courtroom insanity, where text messages, leaked recordings, and even a bizarre poop-related scandal turned the case into the biggest media spectacle of 2022. It completely hijacked the news cycle, overshadowing any actual work either of them had done.
This is ridiculous. Why are we here, Blake? Because again, you gotta remember, Blake filed this suit, not Justin. Blake filed this suit. And if all of Hollywood is really believing her and Ryan, well, then why are they laughing? It's because this shouldn't be funny. This shouldn't be funny if we are seriously taking Blake's case so serious, which we're not.
Now, fast forward to 2025 and history is repeating itself, just with different names. Blake Lively kicked off this circus in December 2024 when she filed a sexual harassment and retaliation complaint against Justin Baldoni. Instead of keeping things quiet and dealing with it privately, the whole thing exploded into public warfare when Baldoni responded with a $400 million lawsuit against Blake, Ryan Reynolds, and their publicist, Leslie Sloan. His claims? Civil extortion, defamation, and invasion of privacy. And just like that, this wasn't about a movie anymore. It was a full-blown legal brawl.
Her case has no evidence. It's complete nonsense. He called me sexy and asked how much I weigh when he has a back problem. It is absurd what she's accusing him of, as we've broken down. And the evidence he's provided so far is showing she's not telling the truth. So People are clearly paying attention. It's all Hollywood can talk about. To see them laughing here,
And here's the thing about high-profile celebrity lawsuits. They always start with serious allegations, but quickly turn into a giant distraction. The Depp Heard trial completely overshadowed their acting careers because, at some point, it stopped being about who was right or wrong and became a never-ending social media war. Now, the same thing is happening to Blake and Baldoni. Instead of talking about their film It Ends With Us, the conversation has shifted to lawsuits, leaked texts, and who's lying more convincingly.
people are clearly paying attention. It's all Hollywood can talk about. To see them laughing here,
For providing us with that distraction. I'm grateful. I think we're all grateful. And I think we're good.
And just like with Depp and Heard, evidence is starting to surface that isn't exactly working in Blake's favor. Baldoni's legal team has dropped text messages and emails that allegedly show a completely different version of events. One where Blake and Baldoni actually had a professional and friendly working relationship, rather than the toxic environment she's now describing. Even worse for Blake, some of these messages reportedly contradict key details in her allegations.
I think everybody in this room, no matter whose side you're on, we can all agree to accept that there's probably not going to be a sequel.
But it doesn't stop there. Baldoni's team also pulled out raw footage from the set, claiming that it completely dismantles Blake's harassment claims. According to Baldoni's attorney, Brian Friedman, this footage proves their interactions were professional, consensual, and nothing close to the hostile nightmare Blake is painting in court. And just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, Baldoni's team has hinted that Blake has a history of bullying behavior herself.
we lose that. There's just a little smidge bit as they talk about it. The smidge left. It's just incredibly telling to see Hollywood they're out of patience. They don't want to hear this nonsense anymore.
This is where things start to look really bad for Lively. If Baldoni's evidence holds up in court, her credibility takes a massive hit. We've seen it before. Once the public starts questioning the truthfulness of accusations, sympathy disappears, and the whole case turns into a PR disaster. And unlike scripted Hollywood dramas, there's no coming back from that kind of reputational damage.
And Flaw responded afterwards saying that this whole thing got, publicized, your lawsuit, saying she is in no way connected to any attempt to smear Blake Lively.
Now both Lively and Baldoni are scrambling to protect their public images, knowing that the industry is watching every single move they make. The trial is officially set for March 2026 in New York. And whatever happens in that courtroom isn't just going to decide the case. It's going to shape the future of their careers. Because in Hollywood, you can survive a bad movie, but once your name becomes synonymous with legal drama, good luck getting another major role.
Like if somebody is seriously sexually harassed, you don't make fun of it. It's a serious issue.
And honestly, it all started as a simple movie collaboration turned into a battle for dominance. And now, it's a full-blown legal mess playing out in front of the entire world. Apparently, the drama didn't just begin with the lawsuit. It started way earlier when Blake Lively decided she wanted more control over the film than Baldoni was willing to give.
What Ryan Reynolds, has seemingly done, right, is used his power and influence to not only help Blake Lively take over this movie, but, he's used it, on Deadpool and to make fun of Justin Baldoni.
According to The Hollywood Reporter, once the movie was already in post-production, Blake pulled a bold move. She brought in editor Shane Reed, a guy she and Ryan Reynolds had worked with on Deadpool and Wolverine, and commissioned her own cut of the film. Yep, she literally had a whole separate version edited behind Baldoni's back. That's not just overstepping, that's kicking the director out of his own movie. The final version that hit theaters wasn't even Baldoni's original cut. The credited editors were Una Flaherty and Rob Sullivan, meaning his vision for the movie was completely reshaped.
We have a clip where his character Deadpool, which is very popular in this movie, acts more like the Justin Baldoni that I said turned me off with the I'm against toxic masculinity.
If that wasn't enough of a power play, things got even messier when reports came out that Ryan Reynolds was also sneaking his way into the production process. Variety reported that Reynolds rewrote an entire scene's dialogue, a rooftop moment between Lively and Baldoni, without Baldoni even knowing about it. Imagine directing a movie and finding out an actor's husband is rewriting your scenes. That alone was enough to cause major tension, but then came the real red flag: Baldoni hiring a crisis management expert in August 2024. At that point, it was clear that things had gone way beyond creative differences.
They don't want to hear this nonsense anymore. Here it is.
It ends with us.
Here it is. Again, more celebrities laughing.
There's probably not going to be a sequel. It ends with us, guys.
And just when you think this story couldn't get any more ridiculous, it turns out the legal battle is now hinging on two specific pieces of evidence: a dance video and a voice message. The dance scene, which was supposed to be just another romantic moment in the movie, has now turned into a key piece of evidence in Blake's harassment claims against Baldoni. According to The Times, during the filming of this scene, Baldoni allegedly leaned forward, dragged his lips from Lively's ear down her neck, and said, "It smells so good." Blake's legal team is treating this as proof of inappropriate behavior, arguing that it was unprofessional and uncomfortable for her. But Baldoni's team fired back hard. They released raw, unedited footage from that exact moment, claiming it shows a completely consensual and professional interaction.
But all I will say is this is not, Blake Lively's not going to do this. So if you're mad that she's calling out Justin too, in a way, of enough you guys, I would challenge back. This is absolutely not good for Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds.
To make things even murkier, Fox News brought in body language experts to analyze the video, and their conclusion: it looked tense, but there was no clear sign of wrongdoing. That's the kind of gray area that turns a legal case into an absolute media frenzy. And then there's the voice message, a short audio clip Baldoni sent to Lively during production, apologizing for any discomfort. Sounds like an admission of guilt, right? That's exactly what Blake's team is arguing.
Hey, Blake. It is 2 in the morning. Hopefully this does not wake you up. I want to start with an apology. Man, reading the second part of your message, my heart sank. And I'm really sorry.
But Baldoni's lawyers are saying it's not an admission of anything. It was just a general apology, the kind of thing directors say all the time to keep the peace on set. According to CNN, this voice message has become one of the most debated pieces of evidence in the case. Depending on how the court interprets it, it could either validate Lively's claims or completely dismantle them. At this point, the entire industry is watching to see how this unfolds, because it's no longer just a lawsuit. It's a battle for reputations, careers, and credibility. The stakes are insanely high, and both sides are throwing everything they have at each other. If the court sides with Baldoni, Lively's accusations fall apart and her credibility takes a massive hit.
I just want to say thank you for sharing that with me. That takes a lot of trust and vulnerability. And damn right, you got great friends if that's how you felt and they knew that, and we should all have friends like that.
If the court sides with Lively, Baldoni's career is in serious trouble. And with the trial set for March 2020s in New York, this is just the beginning of what might be Hollywood's most chaotic courtroom showdown yet. But have you thought what will happen if Blake's allegations don't hold up in court? Well, let me tell you, because in that case, she's in a world of legal trouble. California law is very clear. If you make false statements with the intent to harm someone's reputation, you can be held liable for defamation.
They're there trying to be nice to all the celebrities. And then the celebrities are there, nominated for these awards along with some studios. So this is a very big Hollywood event and a sort of a press Hollywood event. And so to see them all basically mock this lawsuit.
In simple terms, Baldoni just needs to prove that Lively knowingly lied and did it to ruin him. And if he succeeds, she'll be on the hook for some serious financial damages. That includes compensatory damages for the harm done to Baldoni's reputation and even punitive damages, aka a massive fine to make an example out of her. And if you think that's the worst part, hold on, it gets worse. There's also the possibility of criminal charges. Yep, Under California Penal Code Section 148.5, knowingly filing a false report is a crime. If prosecutors decide Lively lied in her official complaint, she could face fines or even jail time. It's rare for these kinds of cases to lead to criminal charges, but if Baldoni's lawyers push hard enough and evidence emerges proving she fabricated parts of her claims, it's not off the table.
So she's a Me Too victim, he's a villain, and all the negative press you saw about her was astroturfed. Okay, that was her opening shot.
And as if that wasn't already enough lawsuits to deal with, Lively has another legal headache. A $7 million defamation lawsuit from Jed Wallace, a crisis management executive. Wallace is accusing Lively of dragging his name into her PR war, saying she falsely claimed he helped orchestrate a smear campaign against her. If she loses that case, that's yet another financial blow to add to her growing list of problems.
Justin Baldoni did a very smart thing, and he hired Brian Friedman, my lawyer who represented me in my fight with NBC. And let me tell you, you could ask for no better.
At this point, Blake isn't just fighting for legal vindication, she's fighting for her entire career. The trial is officially set for March 2026, and everything hangs on what evidence comes out next. If she can't back up her claims, she won't just lose the case, she'll lose public trust, credibility, and possibly millions in damages. And in Hollywood, once your reputation takes a hit like that, there's no script that can save you.
Showing how Justin and his PR team were out to smear poor innocent Blake, conspiring, saying, look at this article in the Daily Mail saying she's terrible and she's about to be canceled. And the other PR hack writes back, you're that good.
So Blake Lively thought she was controlling the narrative, but with Chelsea Handler's roast, leaked evidence, and a mountain of lawsuits stacking up, things are spiraling fast. If this case collapses, she's not just facing legal trouble. She's facing career-ending consequences. And with the trial set for March 2021, this Hollywood drama is far from over. Make sure to hit that subscribe button because this legal battle is only getting messier, and you don't want to miss what happens next.